What if I told you you had the power to design the future? With one little thing, and it's already inside of you. It's actually inside all of us. If we flip one little thing around, we can create a better future for ourselves, for the next generation, for the entire world. We just have to start with good. But before I get into my talk, I want you to do me a little favor. I want everyone to close their eyes. Yeah, close your eyes just for 1 second. And I want you to imagine a really great moment in time. A memory of you as a child, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old. This memory brings you a lot of joy. I want you to think about this. Now I want you to think about how this makes you feel. How do you feel right now? A lot of smiles out there. That's cool. All right, you can open up your eyes. We're going to come back to it. We're going to go back to that idea later. My journey began with 2 amazing parents. That's my mom, Big B, my dad, Mr. Jones. My mom was a nurse in the ER and the OR for 30 years. She'd spend 12-hour days working away, and then she'd come home and raise 4 kids. Just a really kind person. And my dad, he was a farmer his whole life. He could build and fix and make just about anything. You know, farmers really are the jack of all trades. I'm lucky. I got a bit of both of them in me. This kindness and this creativity. A lot of people aren't lucky and have great parents like that. And they don't have great parents like that. I grew up playing hockey and loving art and building and making things in the garage. When I went to design school, I graduated and I started working in the corporate world, like a lot of other people. And I worked my way up the corporate ladder. That's what this icon is, making my way up the corporate ladder. Designer, art director, creative director, strategist. You know, did some really great work. Pro sports teams, Olympics, broadcast media, building and launching some of the biggest brands in Canada. All great stuff, all stuff I'm really, really proud of. But at the end of the day, I wasn't making much difference. I wasn't making impact in the world. So I found myself volunteering, giving back to the community. You know, I do shoreline cleanups. I do a bunch of other different projects like food programs, women's shelters. This year, this is a photo of us last Christmas. It's my sister, my mom, Big B, myself, and my amazing partner, Vicky. You know, for the past 10 years, on Christmas Day, my mom and I would go to hospitals and hand out tangerines and candy canes to the staff and the patients and the geriatrics that work there. Well, the geriatrics that are stuck there. You know, this is probably the highlight of my year. It's a really amazing experience. It's actually really funny. You get all these seniors and these old-timers that would chirp me for being a skinny Santa and say, Mrs. Claus needs to fatten you up. And it's just a really great experience. And some of these geriatrics, it's kind of their last Christmas. So for me to just do that for one day, it's a pretty incredible feeling. You know, so I spent my days working in the corporate world and then nights and weekends giving back a little bit. I started to realize giving back on the side isn't going to be enough to fix some of the problems we have in this world right now. You know, we live in polarizing times with polarizing politicians. You know, there's 235,000 Canadians that experience homelessness every year. That's a pretty big number. 1 in 5 youth don't have access to mental health. And in contrast, they need mental health services more than ever. Youth, suicide, depression, they're all at an all-time high. And the average Canadian, they throw out 1,500 pounds of trash every year. You know, the temperature is rising. 20 of the last 22 years have been the hottest on record. Polar ice caps are melting. Guess what, guys? One of those polar ice caps, they're in our backyard. It's bad stuff. We wonder why all these kids are having suicidal thoughts, depression, and anxiety. What hope are we giving them? I don't know. Why? Because of money. We live in Canada, one of the richest, nicest countries in the world, but we don't seem to be doing that much about it. You know, because we work in a system of capitalism. Capitalism is about getting money at the beginning, getting money at the end. There's only one thing in mind, is making as much money as possible. The competition for money is the challenge, not the money itself. And if you look up capitalism in the dictionary, it doesn't care about you or I, and it doesn't care about the planet. It's the fundamentals that just say get money. That's a fish, by the way. A little rough on the sketches. It's money first. Money over morals. So I started asking, what happens if you flip it around? What happens if we flip that around and put morals over money? What if we start with something good? And that's kind of what I did. I started an agency called And Good Company. Essentially, we exist to make the world a better place. We're not here to work in a sector. We're not here to work for a specific client. We're here to make the world a better place. And we're going to go out and make change in the world, and then we're going to find ways to fund it. It's about people, ideas, and work, all with good at the front. And I think if we put this stuff together, we can create a better world. In our first initiative, my amazing partner Vicky and I said, let's go give something back. If we're all about making change in the world, let's not talk about making the world a better place. Let's go do it. Let's drive around and help some people. Seems like a good idea. This idea started to expand. It's starting to expand to using our talents to make the world a better place. Vicky, she's a digital marketing expert. I'm a brand guy, kind of creative, obviously. What if we give away branding to charities and nonprofits? Those people that are making the world a better place for all of us. Amplify the good. Instead of going and working at a soup kitchen, what if we give the tools to these leaders that are helping so many? And then if we ask some of our creative friends that might be out in the audience, let's ask them to help us as well. So this idea called Brand Van started to form. In July, we built a website, called for submissions for some of Canada's most innovative and impactful charities. In August, we built a van, a mobile content studio, a work-live space, 72 square feet, lots of room, enough to put your whole life into, include all of Vicky's shoes. It's this interesting idea of flipping things around and creating your own studio that you can live out of. And then we got to work. We didn't know what we were doing, but we just started. We didn't know where we were going aside from these charity groups, and we didn't know how to get there aside from the GPS maps. And then we just started meeting with them, seeing how we could help support them, what we could do with them. We drove to the East Coast in September and drove to the West Coast in October. And all the while, we supported them with creative talent, designers, writers, copywriters, illustrators. This photo here, this is Sean, he's in Oakville, Andy in Vancouver, and Wendy in Ottawa. This is one of our first initiatives. That lady, I don't know if you can see with the curly hair, that's Jessie Jollymore. She's a dietitian in Halifax. She runs a program called Hope Blooms. What they do is they mentor at-risk youth. They do it through a greenhouse. They use a vegetable garden after work to mentor these kids. They grow vegetables. The vegetables they grow are turned into salad dressings, and the salad dressings are sold at a national grocer, and the money from that goes back into a scholarship fund for the kids. This is a dietitian using creativity to make the world better. That's pretty cool. These three gentlemen, 3 retirees. It's Leo, Maurice, and Paul Alfred. They run a program on the East Coast called EnviroPlus and Second Chance Workshop. Essentially, they waste divert all of this furniture that's ended up in the landfill, fix it, clean it, repair it, and put it back out into the public. The interesting part about their program is the skills training, the Second Chance Workshop side. They give people that are homeless or on the edge of being homeless, living in shelters, a second chance by skills training them, teaching them new life skills, and giving them an opportunity for something more. Leo, the gentleman on the left that started this program, he took me aside one day when we were there. He said, Keith, sometimes people just need a second chance. And our system right now isn't set up for second chances. It's kind of survival of the fittest. Some of their program is a group in TO called Furniture Bank. Now, Furniture Bank, they've been around for 20 years. They do some really cool things. In the 20 years that they've existed, they've helped 100,000 people. They've waste diverted 12,000 tons from the landfill. If you think about it, that's not just furniture that they've saved. That's a lot of people that they've saved. The typical cycle of a product is taking natural resources out of the ground, making something out of it. Someone gets to use it, this object, and then it's thrown in the garbage. That's a linear cycle. Furniture Bank was in a circular economy. So instead of throwing something out at the end, they fix it, repair it, upcycle it, give it to someone else. It gets to have a new home. What you're saving is the environment at the beginning when you're taking natural resources out, and the environment at the end when you're throwing it in the garbage. For all the energy that it takes to produce it, and all the energy it takes to ship it out. So we helped them out with their 20th year anniversary logo. We built some really cool identities for them. This one here takes the infinity symbol and circles it into the 2.0 mark. We helped them out with the House to Homes program. Recidivism with homelessness, it cuts in half if you have a house that has furniture in it. Without furniture in a house, it's just a box, and people end up back out on the street. And then we worked on their Chair Fair event. This event is an annual gala to raise money for their programs. We took a C and A, created a cute little heart out of it, turned it on its side. There's a little chair in there. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, nerding out. That's the stuff I get excited about, but it's those little details along the way. Now, this is the design element that I'm talking about when I talk today. It's like designing a better place. And then we applied this creativity to their advertising, to their marketing, to the brochures, to the event experience. We raised an extra 30% in funding that year from this event. They built extra corporate partnerships, but more importantly, we built a toolkit for them to use in the future. This isn't about a one-stop shop. This is about giving people the tools to keep moving forward, professionalize them. This is Ian Bookman. He reached out to us with a project called Bum Run. At first, we thought it was some kind of naked run through the city of Toronto. Turns out it was legit. It's a 5K run to raise awareness for colon cancer. And colon cancer is the second leading cause of death by cancer in Canada. Yes, colon cancer is the second leading cause of death by cancer in Canada. I said that twice for purpose. The reason why is because you don't check it like this, check it like this. Right? There's a social stigma around it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. A lot of people don't want to get checked. It's crazy. We accepted this project, and a week later, I found out one of my friends that I used to work with, Matt, had colon cancer. And since this talk, this past year, another one of my cousins, second cousin anyway, he has colon cancer. So how do you beat a social stigma? Humor! Buddy Ryan and Mark and some great copywriters, we came up with some really fun taglines with this. We built a full campaign around it. We took the CN Tower, we put it on the cheeks. We create a typeface out of butt cheeks. I don't know if you can see it, but there's little cheeks and all these little letters and numbers. We create a complete visual language for all of it. We applied it to social media, to advertising. It's not just the B from Bum Run, it's also a finger, a check finger. Maybe it's a directional arrow. We had fun with the entire thing. We turned their Instagram into the Buttgram. We had people talking about their butts, taking photos about their butts. If this is the issue, that we're not talking about it, let's help them talk about it. We had a fun poster series, merchandise, t-shirts, hats, brochures, and the medal with the cheeky butt in the middle. This time last year, almost to this day, Vicki and I were driving through Calgary, actually. It was on the edge of the mountains. It was -8. It was a snowstorm. We were sleeping in a van. That's where I met Rob. Rob, Anna, and Lourdes run a program that takes food to people in need. They came to us with a project where they wanted to take food in a bus. Seniors, low-income, Indigenous communities. We came up with an identity called Fresh Roots. The name as well. Fresh ways of bringing food to people, fresh food, roots, obviously bus routes, and roots in the ground. We built the identity, a visual language for them. We made a cute little icon based on the city map lines, little leaves coming off the sides. Then we got an illustrator to help us out. This illustrator created this really soft palette, really inviting, really welcoming to all ages and demographics. This is the original illustration, the schematics from 25 years ago. This bus, destined for the landfill, was receiving a new life. And our friends at Mason Studios helped us out with this. They designed the interior of the bus to be a space that everyone would want to get groceries from. This is fully accessible, has 2 ramps at the front and the back, a cold storage unit on the one side, and there's wheelchair accessible as well inside. Racks are low, so kids and seniors can reach them really easily. This is the profile of the new bus. And this is what it looks like now. Come on, this is what it looks like now. This is like 40 people worked on this project. It's amazing. The cool part about it is as we were building this with them over the past year, they got some good ground. They launched in Calgary and they launched in Edmonton. This is 2 stops now. They're continuing to grow this project. They're going to feed probably thousands of extra Canadians now, all because people started helping them and coming together. And this is not me, this is a group of people. They turned a nonprofit into a social enterprise, and a social enterprise almost into a social franchise. I'm not making those words up. I think there's a couple in there, though. A year ago, or I guess a year and a half ago, this is just a sketch. We started out with this sketch on a page called Brand Van. I love this illustration because this shows, in a year and a half, how you can take an idea and put it into reality. In that same year and a half, we helped 20 different groups with consulting, built out 13 initiatives, like those big projects I just showed you. We've touched 10 provinces and territories, had 50 volunteers, and they've actually designed a bit of a college course around us. But more importantly, we've given confidence to the leaders of these organizations. We've instilled pride to the people that work there and volunteer there. We've given dignity to the people that receive those services. And we're at a creative renaissance right now. I don't know if you know this or not, but the tools we have at our disposal have never existed before. Dietitians, retirees, business consultants, they're using creativity every day to make the world a better place. Right now, you can research, write, design, print, ship, sell, deliver, book without leaving the comfort of your house. To an audience, 90% of the world is illiterate right now? If you go back 200 years, only 10% of the world can even read. It's amazing. When I started this project, I thought it would be a rallying call for designers and creators to make the world a better place. It is a rallying call, but it's for all of us to design the future we want to live in. It's through our choices, small choices and large choices. Small choices, like where you buy your coffee, where you get your clothes, and large choices, like what kind of car you get, or where you work. This t-shirt, it's environmentally friendly, the people that made it had a good job, the farmers, seamstresses, and when I'm done with it, it'll decompose. And the company I work for, it's a good one. I have more. Capitalism, there's good things in it. It creates competition, it creates reward, it creates opportunity, right? But if we put morals in front of it, we create a competition not for money, but a competition for good. Imagine where we could go as a society. Imagine if our money was designed to make the world a better place. I think that's a pretty phenomenal thing. I've never put this many happy faces on a slide in my life. I truly believe this is the future for all of us. If we start with good, put yourself as emotion. You don't have to change the world, but we have to change. Do it together, do it with your friends, do it with your family, do it with Big B, do it with your colleagues. Do it at work, whatever you have to do. And good. We all know it, right from wrong, good from bad. It's the golden rule. We're all taught it as kids. Every religion is based on it. Don't hit your sister, share your toys, all that stuff, we know it all. Start with good. called moral capitalism. If we can put that good first, it'll come back to us. Over the past year and a half, I've designed a better world around me. I've shown that to you. What I haven't shown you is the world I've designed in me. Remember that feeling I asked you to hold on to at the beginning of this conversation? That feeling, if you can remember it now, I get that feeling every day when I make the world a better place. And you can too. Because if you start with good, you can end up with something incredible. Thank you.